Hi, I'm Dave Such. Welcome to my channel where we talk about all things spiritual. Today, we're going to talk about something I've mentioned in videos, but I've never really explained it. The fear-love duality of planet Earth. So yesterday, I had a counseling appointment with a very young lady, Kelly, who's just a wonderful woman. She's really blossoming spiritually, and it's wonderful to see people waking up spiritually. We're in the middle of the great awakening of humanity, and we're just coming out of the barbaric age. So what is the fear-love duality of planet Earth? And why do we have a fear-love duality here on planet Earth? If heaven is such a wonderful, fantastic place that has joy and peace and happiness and fun beyond human comprehension, what are we doing down here in a place that can seem like hell by comparison? Well, as I've mentioned on other videos, it turns out that consciousness learns through contrast. And so you always have to have a small portion of creation experiencing the opposite, the fear-love duality, and that's what we're doing here on planet Earth. We're the only planet in this galaxy in which the fear-love duality is active, and that means that we always have a choice to act out in terms of love or fear, or put another way, behave good or behave badly. And so every time a human being makes the decision to act out in love when we have the choice, that's what contributes to the creation process. So there are millions and millions of intelligent species in our galaxy. Our galaxy contains around 400 billion stars, and you only need one planet to be experiencing this duality. You don't need a big portion of creation to have this duality, to learn from it. It's like if you have one cancer research lab and they come up with a cure for a certain kind of cancer, the entire world benefits because they share that information. So when we are in this hostile environment, when we can choose between love and fear, and we manage to be loving and compassionate to each other, this is something that the entire galaxy learns from. It elevates the life in this galaxy. It elevates the vibration of the universe, and it contributes to the creation process. And if it were not for souls who are incarnating into the fear-love duality and into physical existences, the love of heaven could not continue to exist and grow. So we are providing a very important job for really creation. Now, what does this mean in terms of the way we behave on a daily basis? Well, many of the people who are attracted to a channel like this, or who are light workers or have had spiritual awakenings and are really trying to foster love and compassion, they are doing great work for humanity. But a lot of times, people like me or light workers or spiritual people, they tend to shy away from the fear side of the equation. And without the negative behavior, without the people behaving badly, you wouldn't have duality. And so it is a necessary part of our growth. Now, I've talked about this new world of love that's coming and the end of the barbaric age here on Earth, and we're moving into becoming an ascended planet, an ascended species, where we're going to live in peace and harmony with each other and with the environment. Well, we're still going to have somebody experiencing the fear-love duality. So we will grow up out of our childhood, and we will be the parents, and we will probably be helping another planet as they go through the fear-love duality. There'll always be one. And so a lot of light workers and spiritual people will shy away from the negative part. And it is natural and normal, even for spiritual people, even for light workers, even for people who are doing their best to live in unconditional love. It is normal and natural and appropriate to play in the dark side, to have negative thoughts, to do bad things, to get angry and frustrated and judge our fellow human being. And it's real easy for a light worker or for a spiritual person to look at the people acting out in darkness and point the finger and say, oh, if it weren't for you bad people, life would be so much better. If it weren't for you corrupt politicians and greedy corporations who are doing all sorts of slimy, disgusting things to unfairly separate people from their money and trash the environment, and if it weren't for you horrible bankers who are charging interest on money that you create out of thin air, And for those of you who don't know what I mean by that, look online about how our system of money works. Banks create money out of thin air. They loan it to us and it has to be paid back with interest. And the only place that that interest can come from is more debt. So it is a Ponzi scheme, and no matter how hard everybody works, somebody's going to have to go bankrupt, and some companies are going to have to go bankrupt because of this sick system of money. And it's real easy for me, even as a light worker, to point the finger and say, these evil people, they need to go. But the reality is, it would not be a fear-love duality if there wasn't some people playing the part of the bad guy. Now, I've even heard in these pre-earth planning, when you're up there in heaven, you decide you're going to have a physical life, and you decide to incarnate on the planet Earth, these soul groups will take on different roles. And someone will choose playing the bad guy, and someone will choose to be the victim. So one person in the soul group might say, I want to grow and learn from having the experience of being a woman who's abused by an alcoholic husband. And somebody in the soul group has to take on the job of being the alcoholic husband that does the abusing. Now, this is kind of shocking to me, and it's a hard one for me to believe and a hard thing for me to swallow, but I've heard it so many times in my near-death experience research that I believe it. Those people in life who have wounded us the most, who have hurt us the most, who have done the most damage to us, those are typically the people that are closest to you and your soul family in heaven on the other side of the veil. Because when one person wants to learn from being the victim, none of the other souls want to have the tough job of playing the bad guy. In our heavenly state, we are infused with the love of creation. We are infused with this common connection, and nobody wants to play that part. And it is only those who love us the most that say, okay, I'm going to do this for you. So it's important for us as light workers and spiritual people to do our best to avoid judgmentalness. When you go to see a play in the theater, and there's a good guy and a bad guy, and the play is over, and the actors come out on stage and they take a bow, do we all boo the actor who played the bad guy and praise the actor or the actress who played the good person? No, they are all applauded because it was part of the play and necessary. So down here on planet Earth, it is necessary to have some people acting out in darkness, to have some people doing evil things and being cruel and selfish and manipulative. And if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have the contrast and we wouldn't grow. And so that's the message for today. If you're a light worker or a spiritual person, don't feel bad if sometimes you're dabbling in darkness. If you're dabbling in negative or bad behavior, it's completely appropriate and necessary here on planet Earth. And yes, eventually we'll grow out of it and someone else will take on that role, but right now we have that role and we're helping creation by doing it. So those who are acting out in love and compassion are doing a great deal to contribute to the creation growth process, but those who are acting out in darkness, they are the catalyst that are pushing us forward. The dance of consciousness is always one of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And without that step back, without dipping into darkness, we wouldn't have the 2 steps forward. So I have heard that in the history of this galaxy, no planet has sunk so far into darkness as we have done here on planet Earth. With our war and selfishness and greed, no planet has sunk so low without destroying themselves. If they sunk as low as we have gone, they destroyed themselves. We are the first ones to sink this deeply into darkness and then start to spring out towards the light. And the Pleiadians who have been helping us, many thought that they were being dangerous and risky by letting us sink so low, but they pulled it off. And there was a great celebration when we passed the point of no return. So right now, all eyes in the galaxy are upon planet Earth, watching as we come out of the barbaric age and we start to become an ascended species. So it's important as we deal with people who are being greedy and selfish and cruel and manipulative to be patient. You know, you never have to be a pawn or a victim in somebody else's games of manipulation. You always have the right to protect yourself. But what we don't want to do is point the finger and judge, because you don't learn to live in light and love until you have passed through many moments and many lifetimes of darkness. So those acting out in darkness, we once walked on that same path ourselves. Now we may be very far ahead of them on the path looking back, but that was us at one time. So it's important to be accepting of where they are and be appreciative and have gratitude for the role they are playing in the creation process, because it is critical. Well, that's about it for today. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, keep spreading your light and love.